development and democratic governance. We stand in solidarity with Nigeria as they honor the legacy and service of their late former head of state. May his soul rest in eternal peace. May his soul rest in eternal peace, and may the people of Nigeria find strength in this difficult moment. The ANC also takes this opportunity to salute the people of South Africa for their recent triumphs across a range of sporting and cultural arenas. From podium finishes in global athletics, the winning streak of the Springboks, the recent victory of the Proteas, the sterling performance of Banyana Banyana in WAFCON 2025, currently underway, to inspiring wins in international dance competitions and youth sports tournaments. South Africans have yet again proven their resilience, talent, and ability to shine on the world stage. These victories are more than moments of celebration. They are reminders of the indomitable spirit of our people. They demonstrate that South Africans, when united and determined, can overcome any challenge placed before them. The same spirit must now be harnessed in our collective effort to defeat crime and corruption and to renew the moral fiber of our nation. In this context, the ANC welcomes the decisive and constitutionally sound announcement by President Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday, 30th July 2025, to establish a Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the deeply disturbing allegations that are serious, far-reaching, and go to the core of the integrity of the state. This includes claims of interference with sensitive investigations, complicity between senior state officials and criminal elements, and the possible existence of an organized criminal syndicate operating within the state's security architecture. Left unaddressed, such allegations threaten to erode public confidence in the institutions that are meant to protect the South African people and uphold the rule of law. The ANC views the President's response as both necessary and responsible. His establishment of a Judicial Commission of Inquiry is an act of leadership that demonstrates an unwavering commitment to constitutional democracy, accountability, and the principle that no individual, regardless of their position, is above the law. It affirms that the fight against crime and corruption will not be waged through expedient populism or grandstanding, but through lawful, transparent, and institutional processes grounded in our democratic order. The decision to place Minister of Police, Comrade Senzo Mchunu, on a leave of absence is equally commendable. It is a proactive and considered measure taken in the interest of ensuring that due process is not compromised. Importantly, this decision does not imply guilt or prejudgment. It is a step that preserves the integrity of both the executive and the investigation itself. The President has acted in full accordance with his constitutional authority as provided in Section 91, subsection 2 of the Constitution, to appoint and relieve members of the Cabinet. The ANC reaffirms and respects this constitutional prerogative. As the ANC, we welcome the President's consistent approach of allowing institutions to function independently. guided by law and not by political expediency. His actions continue to reflect a clear commitment to the restoration and strengthening of the state. This commission is not an isolated intervention. It is part of a broader program of institutional renewal, which has included the rebuilding of the National Prosecuting Authority, the formation of specialized anti-corruption units, and the strengthening of protection for whistleblowers. We also congratulate and express our full confidence in the appointment of Professor Firoz Kachalia as Minister of Police. A seasoned legal scholar, respected public servant, and staunch anti-corruption advocate. Professor Kachalia brings a wealth of experience and credibility to this crucial portfolio. His deep understanding of the security sector and his proven commitment to clean governance position him to provide the leadership required at this moment. We wish him strength and resolve as he assumes his responsibility during a critical period. The African National Congress views setting of commissions of inquiry, while not a substitute for law enforcement, are essential instruments in the pursuit of justice, truth, and reform, especially where systemic failure, conflict of interest, or possible political interference has paralyzed existing institutions. The Zondo Commission into state capture, despite its significant cost, has yielded substantial returns. Over 14 billion in assets are frozen, 5.4 billion recovered, and more than 60 individuals and entities facing criminal prosecution. The Nugent Commission triggered a renewal at SARS and exposed private sector complicity in undermining state capacity. These commissions have not only exposed wrongdoing, but have informed meaningful legislative and structural reforms. It must be understood that in a constitutional democracy, justice is not a spectacle. The separation of powers doctrine places limits on the executive's direct intervention in investigations or prosecutions. The demand for instant arrests, politically driven prosecutions, or trial by the media undermines the very foundations of the rule of law. South Africa's hard-won democracy does not permit leaders to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Instead, the president has correctly entrusted independent institutions to do their work and has created an enabling environment for them to succeed. We caution against the public consumption of a singular narrative that reduces complex institutional matters to simplistic tropes. As Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie reminds us, I quote, "This problem with stereotypes is not that they are untrue, but they are incomplete. They make one story become the only story," close quote. This is precisely the danger we must avoid, a reductive public discourse that ignores context, dismisses due process, and undermines faith in democratic institutions. In this regard, we call on the public, commentators, and all political parties to exercise restraint and respect the constitutional process now underway. The Commission must be allowed to conduct its work thoroughly, independently, and without fear or favor. Commissions serve this very function. They provide an independent and credible basis for legal, disciplinary, and institutional action. Calls for immediate arrests or prosecutions without this process reflect a disregard for constitutionalism and due process, and would ironically mirror the very abuses of power we seek to correct. The ANC further urges all members of law enforcement and intelligence services to act with the highest levels of professionalism, patriotism, and respect for the Constitution. Now more than ever, the nation needs a law enforcement sector that is apolitical, accountable, and rooted in ethical leadership. We also call on all South Africans who may possess relevant information to come forward, cooperate with the Commission, and support efforts to cleanse our institutions of criminal capture and misconduct. This is not a moment for complacency, nor is it a time for political theater. It is time for principled leadership, for renewal in action, and for a reaffirmation of the values that underpin the liberation movement's commitment to building a capable, developmental, and ethical state. President Cyril Ramaphosa has, even under intense political pressure, stayed the course of constitutionalism. He has not resorted to populist shortcuts or destructive patches. Instead, he has chosen the harder but ultimately more sustainable path of rebuilding public institutions, brick by brick, law by law, reform by reform. His approach is not driven by the need for applause, but by the imperative of transformation and accountability within the bounds of legality. The African National Congress stands resolute in defense of constitutional governance. We reaffirm our support for the Commission of Inquiry, for the President's leadership, and for all lawful and transparent processes aimed at restoring the integrity of the state. In the end, the strength of our democracy will be judged not by the absence of crisis, but by how we respond to it. In a society faced with criminality, a demand for instant justice is understandable, but it must not come at the expense of legal credibility. South Africa's constitution demands that even the fight against corruption be conducted within the bounds of legality, transparency, and fairness. The work of commissions of inquiry show a maturing democracy, one that prioritizes substance over spectacle and long-term reform over short-term applause. We wish to bring the following to your attention: that the National Executive Committee of the ANC, the National Working Committee yesterday, resolved that it should be postponed to a later stage to do thorough political work on a whole range of issues: the state of the government of national unity, to do political work on our situation within the alliance of mending relations and dealing with matters of reconfiguration that affect our relations with one of our alliance partners, which have taken a decision to go to the next election on its own. And that requires deep reflection and decision by the National Executive Committee. And that process on its own requires thoroughgoing engagement with alliance partners, which we have done till thus far. And we're remaining now with the Communist Party, and ultimately to convene and Alliance Political Committee. And we hope to conclude that process before the meeting of the National Executive Committee, so as to be able to chart a way forward. Again, the NEC must deal with the state of the economy in terms of the interventions that we need to make in the economic trajectory we're actually following, and what needs to be done with regard to addressing unemployment in our country. The National Executive Committee will also adopt the framework towards the National General Council of the African National Congress. Lastly, I wish to bring to your attention, and I think that question may arise as well in the press conference, that there's been disinformation doing rounds in social media up to using artificial intelligence about Integrity Commission, alleging all sorts of things, including that Integrity Commission have taken certain decisions with regard to the matter we are dealing with as it affects Comrade Senzo. And I wish to bring to your attention that there has not been any interaction between Comrade Senzo and the Integrity Commission. However, such an interaction will happen as it is required by the ANC Integrity Commission and the guidelines and the terms of reference of the Integrity Commission. So there has not been any decision arrived at on this matter up until comrades appear before the Integrity Commission. And as and when they appear, the Integrity Commission will deal with the matters. And at the same time, once it has concluded on those issues, the Integrity Commission will present its outcome to the National Executive Committee, which will deliberate on those matters and thereafter make the conclusions of the NEC on such matters public and communicate to the affected comrades. So I wish to bring it to your attention and everybody that anyone who's peddling disinformation in this regard, it needs to be corrected and clarified that there has not been such happenings in our surrounding with regard to the Integrity Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, SG. There you have it, colleagues. There you have it, colleagues. I will now turn to yourself for a reflection, and I will take questions. Shall I start this side? Sunday Times. I'm having a reflection. I'm trying to see.
Yes.
Sunday Times. Sunday.
All right. Thank you very much and good afternoon. My name is Sisanda Mboleko from the Sunday Times. Firstly, the NWC that sat yesterday resolved to postpone the NEC meeting. This is now the fourth time that the NEC has been postponed, which is the highest decision-making body in between its conferences. It's the fourth time that it's now being postponed, dating far back as the budget impasse with the DA. What is causing the delays? What's going on? Secondly, the DA has just revealed that President Cyril Ramaphosa's special envoy to the US, Mcebisi Jonas, has had his diplomatic visa declined by the Americans as early as May this year, which means that he's not recognized as the country's intended envoy by the White House. We want to find out what effect will this development have on the bilateral relations between the two countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunday Times. I don't see anyone this side. I'm going to move, go back to you, my brother at the back, and then I'll come back to Itso. Do I have a hand there? Okay, and then, yes, hello.
Raymond from Netwerk 24. I just want to know,
Sorry, from?
Netwerk 24. Just want to know till when is the NEC postponed? And with Kunu, will he now be deployed again back to because he's an MP? Will he now go back to Parliament as a normal MP? Thank you.
Thank you, KFL.
Thank you so much. SG, Mr. Mtunu hasn't met with the committee. Has he ever met with the top 7 of the ANC? Or has he ever met with any committee of the ANC? Maybe, giving or handing over his statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I'm Khawelo Magolego from UFM. SG, you would have noticed that the public is raising questions about the legality of the president's intervention in this matter, replacing Minister Mkhwanazi on special leave. I want to check if the ANC shares this understanding that we now have.
Where are you from?
I'm from UFM. I'm Khawelo Magolego, SG. Oh. Respectfully.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that we now have 2.
You normally don't introduce yourself properly. That is why. So I need to be clear.
My apology for that.
Sorry,
yeah. And I also have to apologize because I've got a number of questions, quite a host of them.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
you can always have a second bite.
Yeah.
The initial ones.
What does the ANC think of the fact that for the first time in this democracy, we have now 2 ministers? Because Minister Mkhwanazi being on special leave means he's still a minister. Unless you have other knowledge that we don't have, that perhaps he's going to lose some of the perks, what be the salary or the security detail. And also there's a technicality that the designated as acting minister would have to be somehow formally drafted into the executive. He can't just be made an acting minister when he's not already in cabinet. Does the ANC have an appreciation of a full understanding of how that is going to be done and how whether it is lawful? And also, your reaction to the fact that there were articles, I don't want to name media houses, but there were articles in the lead up to the president's announcement that suggested that the Minister Mkhwanazi had actually suggested, or should I say requested, that he be placed on leave. And then as the announcement came, it turns out that that's exactly what was being done. Without apportioning guilt or otherwise, what could have gone wrong if the minister had simply resigned, in the process making life easy for the president, in that now he has a whole vacancy to fill instead of having to shift and push people aside? I think I can pause there for now.
Thank you. I'm still wanting to take extra hands. News 24, followed by Newsroom.
Afternoon, Mr. Mbalula. It's Yamtanda Kapa from News 24. It's been a week now since the General came forward with these allegations, and you've probably had time to reflect on what exactly has he said. And this is not a trial by media, but has the ANC thought about or reflected on what the General said in regards to the ANC, parliamentarians, ANC members that are part of the syndicate/international drug cartel operating in Gauteng? What are you going to do about once those names start coming out? Have you started to think about that? Thank you.
Newsroom Africa.
Thank you very much. My name is Connie Hunter from Newsroom Africa. SG, just to go back to the question that the colleague asked around Senzo Mkhwanazi. So you mentioned that Firoz Kachalia would be appointed the Minister of Police. So in your understanding, can you just break down what is the process that's going to be taking place? We having a new Minister of Police. Does Senzo Mkhwanazi remain as a minister without portfolio? Will Firoz Kachalia be sworn in? And when he's sworn in, what is the designation that he gets? Because obviously we know the constitutional loophole around acting, that only an existing minister can act in a position. So if you could just clarify that. And then secondly, if you could just perhaps talk to us about the President Mkhunu or Minister Mkhunu's role in the ANC. Does that get curtailed in any way, or does he still participate in caucuses, in meetings, etc., representing the ANC? Is there any curtailment on his role as an ANC leader, NWC member? And then thirdly, with regards to General Mkhwanazi and the public support for him, where does the ANC stand on Lieutenant-General Mkhwanazi? Do you support him? Do you support the approach in which he made these accusations public? And has there been any engagement from the party with him in relation to the accusations he made around the party and party activities specifically? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you comfortable that I proceed? Or we can take this back?
Yeah,
We proceed.
let me answer.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the questions. Sisanda, in terms of the National Executive Committee postponement, it's for the first time that the NEC regular is postponed. It was scheduled for July. What was postponed was a special meeting, which was going to discuss the impasse around the budget, and that impasse was since resolved. So there's not been postponement of NEC meetings repeatedly. There was going to be a special meeting at the time when there was a budget impasse. That special NEC meeting was postponed. A special NEC meeting can be called to reflect on different matters which you can think of, and those matters are special in nature, and we're going to discuss the budget. But this is a regular meeting, and that regular meeting is postponed by the NWC in order to reflect on the matters that I've explained: GNU, Alliance, State, SA/SACP, NGC preparations, and the economy. So the NWC felt that we need 4 to 5 days to deal with those issues, because we don't have a luxury of meetings week in and week out as the African National Congress. So that's what we are going to be dealing with. I can't comment on Mcebisi Jonas. The envoy is appointed by the president, and the president will deal with that particular matter, and government in this particular instance. So I don't know the information. We wouldn't know on which basis was this set aside by the United States, and only government can actually deal with that particular matter. News 24, will Mkhunu go back to parliament? Ministers are members of parliament. Are members of parliament. So he's not suspended as a member of parliament. He's a member of parliament, Comrade Senzo. So he belongs to parliament. He will attend parliament and all the duties that are expected of him to perform as a member of parliament. The the Kaya FM, Comrade Senzo, we have not been in a position to meet. As you know, we were in mourning for some time, and we had to go to Mpumalanga, and yesterday we had a meeting in which we discussed a whole lot of important issues. So he will be met by the organization at an appropriate time in order for us to brief on the matters. But we, however, need to understand that the ANC does not replace constitutional processes that are set in motion. Those issues must actually ensue. So that's what is important. So the question of meeting him and engaging in organizational processes, including the Integrity Commission, all of those will ensue in terms of the organization. Kaugelo, let me start first with the matter of Mkhunu suggested to be placed on leave. We all learned about it in the press. We didn't come across that. The decision is the decision of the president. So there's nobody who has ever made such, and people can resign, and when they do so, they are deployed by the ANC. They inform us at Luthuli House. So from our side at Luthuli House, we don't have a correspondence from Comrade Senzo that says that he requested to be placed on leave in government to inform the party, or otherwise he is resigning in government. We don't have that. So it's all speculation in the media. So that's how we understand it. Whether if he resigned, what will be the consequence of that, we will be dealing with that as it happened. At the present moment, it's just an analysis of what could be better in terms of what you have actually presented before us. And then the question of the two ministers, we have understood as the ANC that the speech is not the appointment. The speech the president addressed to the nation is not the appointment. There will be an appointment which will be done by the president in this instance on the 1st of August. And then the president will appoint an interim of about 2 weeks acting minister in government. And on the 1st of August, the president will then appoint the minister. And the president referred to section 9.1, subsection 3C of the Constitution that enables him to appoint a full-time minister that is not an MP. So that is the section he will use to appoint the new minister. Now, the president will equally address within his powers and the executive what then happens to the questions you have asked in terms of whether you will have a minister without portfolio or what will actually happen. That will be addressed. But what we know is that the president will use 9.1 subsection 3C, which he referred to in terms of his address. And in terms of that particular address and the speech, in itself, it was not appointment. And that will happen on the 1st of August. In between that, there will be interim of 2 weeks where an interim minister, acting minister, will actually be appointed by the president. News 24, Siamtanda. I don't know which press conference I was following because I was following on Facebook. Maybe I missed other parts of the press conference of General Mkhwanazi. But I didn't hear from his address saying ANC MPs. He said MPs, and he referred to others, even the judiciary and all of that. Now that they are ANC MPs, probably I will hear about it in the commission. But from his address, I didn't. Now, here is something important that happened in this country. It doesn't happen anywhere else. Within 5 days, a senior police officer in the police, irrespective of location, makes grave allegations. The presidents, within 5 days, in response to those, appoint a judicial commission with extraordinary, in a lack of better word, let me underline that, powers, even powerful than Zondo Commission. Because if you listen to the president carefully, he said that some of the recommendation within a segment of 3 months must lead to action, which is something that has never happened before. Some of the actions that will have come out of the commission within 3 months preliminary report should lead us to action. That's what the president said. Judicial Commission with extraordinary powers that is established to respond to General Mkhwanazi. Now, I've seen people of a particular party going protesting, which is within their right. When General Nhlanhla, allegations were made against him, Zuma established a commission of inquiry headed by Moloi. And that commission decided to fire General Nhlanhla. He was appointed Deputy Minister of Agriculture by Jacob Zuma as the president. Commission of Inquiry, Judge Moloi, his decisions were taken on review by General Nhlanhla and set aside. About a certain building by a certain businessman in Pretoria of the police. He was put under suspension immediately. And now President Zuma was using Section 84 of the Constitution to suspend the National Commissioner of Police. Remember, the Minister and the National Commissioner of Police are the only 2 people, among others, and Treasury, who are referred to by specifics in the Constitution. And then he was put not on leave or whatever, he was, and then General Mkhwanazi was appointed to act. No, not Mkhwanazi. I'm not sure who came before that. It was Mkhwanazi, no? Yeah. It was Mkhwanazi, and then after Mkhwanazi, Ria Pierre was appointed. Ria Pierre was also put aside by a commission of inquiry out of the Marikana situation. Now, that was a Judicial Commission of Inquiry on the police. This commission is much broader. It's going to deal with all these allegations that are made here. And they need to be probed and investigated. So, that is how the president has responded to the issues that General Mkhwanazi have raised. Why will the ANC have a problem with that? We believe in our statement, that's what we're saying, is the right thing to do. We are not involved in polemics about whether he's right or wrong and all of that. We are not. I want to repeat what I said last time, that we've got no locus standi as a party to make pronouncements about the correctness or not of what the general have said, because we don't know. Only a credible, competent process can deal with these matters, and then deal with them in detail, as it would have happened even in the past, to enable us to deal with these particular matters. Now, if we prejudice, we pass judgment, and without any solution on the table, you can't. Now, President is a president of the Republic, so we've got to look at first, what is it that guides him on matters of this nature? Isn't it the Constitution? They can't do a kangaroo court. President Ramaphosa, you can criticize and say anything, he doesn't interfere with law enforcement. And that's why we say that we celebrate his stance of acting independently and working even today to empower and strengthen law enforcement in the country. We don't think the law enforcement is where we want it to be, like all South Africans, from a point of resource and capacity to fight crime and organized crime in the country. And this commission will help us to deal with very, very, very important issues that General Mkhwanazi have dealt with. So the ANC has not had any issue with the general. Neither is the president in his statement passing judgment on General Mkhwanazi. So what is the protest about? What are we leading people to? To do what? What are these people who are protesting want our people to do? What the president should do within the prescripts of the law and addressing the challenges that he was facing. First, there was an issue. He came back from Brazil, he's gone underground, he's wanted. Now, you must have faith in the leadership, of course. Others knew already that it will lead to this because they study the law and they know what is, when the president look at these matters that are weighty, how is he going to deal with that? Of course, what seemed to be a thorny issue is what is the status of the minister. Others argue, why is the minister not dismissed and all of that and so on and so on. But the fact of the matter, there is action that has been taken. And action can be taken on the minister and anyone can be appointed to act. And President chose to go outside to get somebody who's capable and who's not tainted to oversee this process and ensure that we cleanse South African Police Service. So there are no guarantees here for anyone going into the future. We have to deal with this issue and allow it to pass and deal with the matters, to the detail how they are raised. General said, a number of things in his press conference that me and you, we've got no capacity or locus standi to argue with or to fight him about those particular issues. One of the issues in the public discourse that was raised was that touch Mkhwanazi, you touch all of us. Now it is becoming evidently clear that as much as South Africans others are genuine, very genuine about these things that are reported by the general, there are others who want to turn it into a political football. There's an opportunity here. We can make South Africa forget about our problems as a party by using the Mkhwanazi matter in our direction. Mkhwanazi raised important issues. And I dare say bravely so, and put them in the public Now, the demeanor and how we raise these issues is not a matter to us as the ANC of a serious conversation. The most important question is to get to the nub and the substance of the issues that the general have actually raised. So we don't know about ANC members that were raised by the general, except MPs in general. So if there are MPs who are implicated in criminality, they must be exposed. And then they must be dealt with in the context of the commission. The Kanita, Feroz appointment. Yes, Feroz will be the Minister of Police. And I've explained that point earlier on that President in his speech did not address the question of appointments. And he will address that issue on the 1st of August. He will address that, including Mkhunu, what's going to happen to him. President will address that issue. The principal question before us is that he is on leave with immediate effect. Commission can go on with its work, and that's it. Even that commission have got powers to even take decisions about individuals as and how they are affected about these matters in the process of conducting its business. That's how powerful it is. And that in itself, if it doesn't define agency on the part of the president and decisiveness, and simply decisiveness is equated to populism, then populism means that SAPS must investigate itself. When we are told by a police general, top cop, that there is a problem here, even in SAPS, how does that such a structure investigate itself? So this commission must actually help us, including those who are affected in SAPS, to respond holistically to how we must address these matters. And this will not be the end of commissions, actually, in our country. Commissions are necessitated by substance and material conditions. And all the people who have listened to, who are criticizing that there must be no commission, they provide no alternative. Now, the president have responded. Isn't it maybe they thought that he will not? Because others argued that, no, he will not do this because of that and that. There are many things that get to be said through the media channels and so on. And you guys, you know better because you interact with a lot of people we don't interact with. But at the end of the day, we are not guided by that. And the president can't be guided by that. He must be guided by the principle of how do we intervene when we are faced with matters of this nature that affect not only the integrity, but the security standing of our country. To an extent that a policeman and a woman in the streets, these allegations can affect them, that we are busy here fighting criminals, our bosses are dining with them. And that must be a concern, not just a concern. A head of state and a president must take steps. And that is why, as the ANC, right from the onset, we placed this matter on the doorstep of the president to handle this particular issue. Now we've got that particular response. So I'm just saying that Feroz Khan, not Feroz Khan. No, I was in the police. I'm dealing with many Ferozes. So Feroz Kachalia. So Feroz Kachalia will be appointed Minister of Police. You can tell us about the other Feroz. No, I can't tell you about anything. I'm no longer in the police, so I'm just confusing things here. Mkhunu's role in the ANC. Comrade Senzo is a member of the NWC. He's a member of the NEC. There's no curtailment on those roles. We in fact expected him to attend the meeting yesterday, and he gave me an apology, and I told him that I need to sit down with him, that this absence of leave, we are not affected by it as the ANC. His absence of leave is in relation to his point of deployment. So we will straighten up issues. He will come to meetings. He must execute his task as a leader of the ANC, and then he must respond to what the president have decided in government. There is expected to respond in terms of his area and the accusations and the allegations that are made against him. There's a commission, Judicial Commission, where now all must then respond to that. That's it. We've had many stories. Individuals, criminals, crooks, others are in jail, others outside, and all of that. No more TikTok commission is there. We don't want TikTok, we want commission. And that commission has got powers. You go around saying things, they will subpoena you to deal with you in terms of that commission. Where does the ANC stand with Mkhwanazi? Mkhwanazi is a policeman, officer of the law, who have raised issues that are attended to through a Judicial Commission of Inquiry. We've got no issues with General Mkhwanazi as the ANC. And we believe that the president have acted, and we've been assured that from a security point of view, in terms of the issues that he has raised, to an extent that it can threaten his well-being and all of that, the police have assured us that is been secured, and security has been increased around him and so on, given the veracity of the issues that he has raised. But that's where we stand. We've got no issues with General Mkhwanazi. If there are issues he's got with individuals in the ANC who happen to serve in parliament, it's for the first time I hear from you, anizitsho-ke izinto kungaqhumi ithuli nina. So kutsho ukuthi ikhona into eniyaziyo. So sendinixelela nangoku ukuthi uba likhona ithuli elinjalo, into kuthiwa kungaqhuma kubasiwe. Uyabona? So if ikhona into enjalo eniyaziyo nina thina singayaziyo silapha eLuthuli, the same process will be followed about those individuals and all of that, which I've never heard the general in the Facebook. I was listening to him from beginning to the end. I never heard him talking about the ANC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, SG. I see that is quite a number. Well, I thought it would be balanced to do a zebra.
But we were towards the end of that. They came after us.
Oh, all right. Let's have peace in the room. I will go back. The Sunday World and my brother from Inside Factor.
Tunes is my name. Welela News. SG. After the presentation of the president on Sunday before the masses of the country, within 24 hours, actually there was a mixed reaction, but within 24 hours, boom, the acting police commissioner, Freddie Kekan, he escaped the attempted hijack. Veteran Mavuso Msimang, he made a comment about those that in PAL, after they've been named by the Zondo Commission, meaning that he was responding to the commission that will be taking place. What will be your response on that one?
Sorry, what is it? What did you say? Can you repeat again about Mavuso?
Oh, he was saying, he was raised a concern about those that they are in PAL after they've been named by the Zondo Commission, They are still in Parliament. And now there's another commission again. The Walter and Albertine Sisulu Foundation issued a scathing statement condemning President Ramaphosa with his response to the crisis of the crime and corruption in SA, demanding his immediate resignation. In all this, where is General Sibia? Because his name was spelled by Mkhwanazi. The president said nothing about him, and Sibia, he responded when his name was mentioned by Mkhwanazi. He made a statement the same day, and he was saying that he was mandated to do what he did, or to remove that task team in KZN. Masemola, he also responded, he said, it was not me, not me. So now, in all this, where's General Sibia? Is business as usual? If maybe you can respond on that one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sunday World.
Thank you very much. My name is Mawande. I work for the Sunday World. Mr. Mbalula, probably, I see you want to say something, but you are not saying it. Maybe let me push you there. Around Lieutenant-General Mkhwanazi, what is your political characterization of him? Leave the legal jamboree, what, all these other things. Because to be quite honest, humbly so, for some of us, he has now fully placed his foot in the political terrain. If you study his movements carefully, as you say yourself, there's MK marching, people saying things will happen if he is removed. What is your political characterization of them? And leave those legal jamborees that we are talking about. Two, let us, okay, probably before I get there, what is your comment on the links of the incoming acting police minister, Professor Kachalia, to the Brenthurst Foundation, which now appears to have its tentacles in all the governments in the SADC? It is now a fully established fact that Professor Kachalia has links there through your very own former Deputy President, Mr. Kgalema Motlanthe. What is your comment there? Number three, let's zoom in again on this Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, who was at the center of the press briefing by Lieutenant-General Mkhwanazi. What is your view on the links of the man, Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, to the president of the ANC, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa, through the CR17, which is also now a fully established fact? There is also another emerging connection to the NEC member of the ANC, Mr. Bejani Chauke, as well as the Minister Senzo Mchunu in his capacity as an ANC leader and his presidential bid for 2027, as well as the presidential bid of Mr. Patrice Motsepe. Those are ANC issues. They have nothing to do with the state. What is your comment on that? And then on Mr. Brown Mokhotsi, yourself, Secretary General, Mr. Mbalula, do you know the man? And if you know him, how do you know him? Do you know him now or historically through your other roles that you have played in government? Finally, do you know of any ANC politicians who are on the payroll of murder accused Mr. Vusiket Matlala, whom we are told is also handling a lot of politicians across political parties? But let's focus on the ANC. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will now turn to Mail Guardian, and then now you can sort it out.
Okay. Thank you very much. Usipamandla Koke from ENCA. Mr. Mbalula, you say the officials in the NWC met yesterday to deal with other important matters, and the matter of Senzo Mkhunu was not really featured there. Don't you think in hindsight this matter is important? Yes, your Integrity Commission has not met with him, but don't you think, based on the nature and the seriousness of the allegations and the fact that this has got a potential to bring your organization into disrepute, don't you think those structures or the officials of the ANC ought to have met with Mr. Mkhunu by now? My colleague touched on the issue of Shedrack Sibia. He has been placed on special leave. Can you comment on that? Yes, it's the matter for the police, but it's why we are here, because of the allegations that were made by General Mkhwanazi. Is the NEC meeting postponed because it was clashing with the Mandela Day? Our sources are telling us that most of your deployees were going to be all over the country on Mandela Day. That's why you decided to basically cancel or postpone the NEC meeting. And also, what is your take on what is going on with the Minister of Higher Education? The president has asked her to submit a report, but the rumblings and the pressure continues on her conduct in Parliament. What is your official position as the ANC in that regard? There are calls for her to be axed.
Thank you very much. This is our very last round, colleagues. Lunga?
Yes.
No, you've already asked more than 5 questions. Lunga?
Okay. No, thank you very much. My name is Lunga Mzangwe. I'm from the Mail and Guardian. SG, for me is that some in the ANC view Mr. Mkhunu as being an ally of the president. Is this the reason that the president is kind of treading very lightly on him? And also with Minister Nkabane, because they're from KZN, both of them, is the view that the ANC maybe is trying to please those in KZN to ensure that the president still supports, still enjoys supports in that province. And number 2 would be that if you are saying you are keeping Minister Mkhunu in the NWC, which is basically the working committee of the ANC and in the NEC, did then the president bow to public pressure on this issue? Because if you are keeping him in the same structures that really decide on what happens in government, is that the case then that he bowed to public pressure? And from what we are hearing is that Brown Mokgotsi is a member of the ANC. Is that someone that you could be considering to call here in Luthuli House, maybe to account as an ANC member? Thank you.
The question of 2 salaries is Makengi.
Okay.
Is the ANC comfortable with this new precedent that's being said that we are now going to have 2 people earning a salary of a police minister because there's no extra portfolio in the cabinet? So if Minister Mkhunu is on special leave with his benefits that include a salary, the new minister, I doubt he would be volunteering his services. Is that the precedent that we want to set? Will it be sustained? You know, I thought you missed that part of the question.
Thank you. SG?
Welela, Freddie Kekana and hijacking that happened yesterday. South Africans are subjected to criminality of this nature on a daily basis. And in this instance, it is the police and a very capable general of the police in Tatekekan. We are very happy that he escaped unscathed, and the criminals, whatever the attempt they were making, they failed. That's a very honorable man in Tatekekan. A serious crime fighter, people in Soweto and in Kagiso and all those areas, they know him very well. That's a proper cop. So to simply take that event to the current situation will really be quite simplistic. And in this particular instance, crime happens to everyone, and it even affects even those who are fighting crime. So I think we need to leave it at that point, where in which law enforcement must deal with the matter. But we are very much elated that he survived that attack, because if anything would have happened to him, the fight against crime would have been poorer, because he's a well-known police general who gave it his all in the fight against crime. I'm telling you, in Soweto, all those areas, they know him very well. People named and all of that. The process of the commission will be able to deal with the question of individuals who are named or who have matters to answer before the commission. And that's what this process is going to be about. If you are named and you are implicated one way or the other, the commission then enable us all to get to the deeper understanding of the role of these individuals. That is really what is important. Now, the Sisulu Foundation, like any other entity or person, is entitled to its own views. However, what the foundation is agitating for, we believe, is lawlessness. Because a situation where the guillotine must fall on the heads of those with allegations leveled against them without any due process is something which is unheard of. The statement of the foundation uses an important word in relation to allegations leveled against Comrade Mkhunu, the word of the accused, quote unquote. The accused is in the dock. And South Africa is a constitutional state founded on the rule of law and human rights, which we believe any person who's accused of wrongdoing must be subjected to due process. And which is what the president have done. We have responded. The president have responded to what is before us as a nation, including in as far as it affects the minister. So the minister will not be in any position to preside over the police force in which his name has been brought into question by the high-ranking police officer. So the Audi rule is applicable to every citizen, that you must listen to the other side in terms of the accusations that are actually leveled. The Walter Sisulu Foundation seems to be overzealous on dealing with the president than the substance of the matter. Their game plan is not what we are facing, is to deal with President Ramaphosa. And I don't want to dwell on where I think this foundation comes from and who's behind the foundation. So let's leave it there. Let's address the principle that their statement is misplaced and is overtaken by events. It would have been relevant if the president had not done anything. They don't pronounce on the inquiry. They don't give alternatives as to what must then happen. They don't. They don't pronounce what must then happen. Here am I, I'm the president of the country. What guides me as the president when I'm faced with a situation that one of my high-ranking police officers says that the police force is wrought with corruption and syndicates and all of that? What do I do when I am presiding over government in a constitutional state? The Constitution guides you with regard to that. How you basically intervene on a matter like that, and which is what the president have actually done. Sunday World, how do we characterize Comrade Mkhwanazi? We have said that the matches that we have seen were hoping for something. It looks like calling that we support General Mkhwanazi I've not seen any citizen anywhere else who has not been in support of Mkhwanazi. How you characterize him is not a question of characterizing him politically or otherwise. If you've got issues about his behavior, there's a commission. You can go there and charge at him that you think he behaved uncharacteristically. So I followed the press conference of General Fani Masemula, and he defended this general and said that he was addressing matters that are in his purview. So should anyone seek to question the protocols of the police, those matters must be ventilated in the commission. From the side of the ANC, we don't think that the matters that General Mkhwanazi raised borders on politics. We believe that they are so serious such that they border on criminality, and they border on unsettling stability within our state security apparatus in the country. And that's what we must deal with. So that's what we're dealing with, and that is our, we support the response of the president in terms of this matter. Because we are a country that is about the rule of law. And as the ANC, even within the concept of the National Democratic Revolution, we believe in the rule of law. There is no state without the rule of law. You can go elsewhere in the world. I don't want to mention countries. Let this press conference turn into something else. But you can go where there is no rule of law. That it's a banana republic. One of the things that our country, with all the challenges we are facing, we pride ourselves of the fact that we are a country that does not to embrace but have right from the beginning ensured that we build state institutions to uphold the rule of law in our country, which over time these state institutions have been weakened. And that is why Zondo Commission, and we are able to illustrate what Zondo Commission is able to do. Yes, of course, people are impatient. People supported the Zondo Commission. They are impatient, but we provide the facts still that there's a lot of work. Billions have been frozen. The Guptas have run away. We want them back. It's difficult to get them out of the Dubai dungeon, wherever they are hiding. We want them here to come and account. But all their assets here, we have taken them away. They are frozen. This thing was going on and on unabated, but it has stopped. But it must stop for good. And state institutions, we cannot forget, as a country, where we come from, not so long ago, must be strengthened. It's painful for all of us to see a state prosecutor on television and say that I'm not strong. Okay? Then the criminals are emboldened. Lawlessness creeps in. It's painful to see a general of the police says, look, I'm faced with this situation and this is what we are faced with. And our country can't fold arms in relation to that. And our president have demonstrated that it is the country first that matters and the protection of the rule of law. That's what President Ramaphosa have done. Whether you like it or not, others don't like it or not, but they will be seen for who they are. Populism. We are addressing a problem here. Other people are calling to go to the streets. We have not finished the anarchy of July riots, which was in vain. Again, it was about the rule of law. One person holding the country at random. And when the state responded to that, it became personal. Ramaphosa versus this one. undermining of the rule of law. They want to repeat that today using Mkhwanazi. They want to repeat that today. And I remember Mkhwanazi saying that he didn't know that ministers love alcohol so much and so on. He had to go and defend alcohol. And there were reasons for that anyway. But the fact of the matter is that even then, the major issue there, when people were running up and down in the townships, the issue was the rule of law. That's why the president attended this matter and elevated this matter to this level, so as to deal with issues. So why will we attend General Mkhwanazi and use political polemic to characterize him as though we have run out of ideas? We can't do that. We are addressing what he has raised, and we are attending to that. And that's what is important. Any diversion that seeks us to do something other than what we're supposed to deal with, it's anarchy. We will just be allowing these people who are hell-bent on promoting and running the country down on anarchy to just do as they wish. You know, I've mentioned President Zuma deliberately in this press conference, which is not the intention, because I've had people who support him in the streets and marching with clad regalia of MK, which is camouflage, saying that they stand for the rule of law. Where were these people when the state intervened decisively to get rid of Bekitele through the Muloi Commission? Where were these people when we had dealt with Marigana? Ria Peaka had to be guillotined out of the police. Where were these people when we had to deal with Ntlemeza, who was running amok, state being undermined in terms of the rule of law and all of that? I was at the helm of the police. I dealt with that decisively, put him in the streets, because the rule of law is the rule of law in this country. Where were these people? I'm saying to you, this is nothing else but political opportunism seeking to use a genuine, not even consent, not even a demand, standing up bravely so by a police corps. Whether he's wrong or right, it will be proven in the process that the president have outlined. Where were these marches? They were not there. President Ramaphosa leaves Brazil, come into the country, respond decisively within 5 days with a commission, Judicial Commission of Inquiry, to investigate all lamanyundululu siwaxelelwayo apha, which must be investigated. And I'm not going to respond to names, because there are many these names. So and so, so and so. They must be investigated. We believe in that. And that the rule of law must prevail at the end of the day. And through the commissions, the rule of law have prevailed. Even within SAPS. Rule of law have actually prevailed, even within SAPS, to address some of the pertinent questions that face us as a nation. Brandhurst. What is Brandhurst? And if you want to define it in ideological terms, probably you can go to town about it, but to be associated and to be part of the Brandhurst in itself is not an act of criminality or corruption. You may disagree with Brandhurst. We may disagree with Brandhurst, whatever that is the case. But these are foundations that are there. But how do you then prejudge somebody on the basis of belonging to a board? We are putting to you in terms of the presentation today, Firoz Kachalia has got history in this country. Before we were free, when we were free, and when we went to government, he's got no iota of corruption. He was presiding over police. President gave him tasks to fight corruption, and that corruption watch he was actually heading or becoming board of it and so on. So he has really dedicated his life to this work of ensuring that there is integrity. So we all know him in this country. So we are confident that this period needed somebody like him to assist in terms of also, from the point of view of SAPS, things that need to be done from a police management perspective. He will understand what needs to be done and advise cabinet appropriately and so on. He will understand the demarcations between the police and his role as a minister, and how to support the police to ensure policy gets implemented. I had somebody complaining sometimes back, but he must have a podcast interview with me. That person, I won't mention, so that I can clarify him about other things. So, Mawande, I'm not going to talk about Brown Mokgotsi and his membership, CR17 and all of that. There are many chance takers in South Africa who clad our regalia and then project themselves as ANC members and all of that. And they get implicated from time to time in many other things. So I don't want to prejudice anyone and claim here that he's not a member of the ANC, because he's going to say, I'm accused about this and that, I didn't have a right. SG went to a press conference and found me guilty. So if there has to be processes in the ANC that must follow, we must not find ourselves on the wrong side, and we must allow those processes to kick in. If he's a member of the ANC, as he claims, he will be subjected. That's all I can explain to you, to the processes of the ANC of integrity processes, and the Integrity Commission will convene him to appear before it as a member of the ANC. I don't want to talk about Vusi Matlala.
Do you know him, Mr. Brown?
Brian Mokgotsi, I don't know him. But members of the ANC are many. Maybe yourself, you are a member, so I don't know. So, and then if somebody claims and then he says, how can? And then he will say, but SG were together in the BGM last week, and I even took a picture with you, and then he shows you after this press conference. What am I going to say? You're going to say I'm a liar. No, I can't denounce his membership of the ANC here. I can't.
No, but I'm saying, have you interacted with him?
No, I've not interacted with him. I've not interacted with him and so on. If I interacted with him, it will be in the ANC processes of the organization, of which that is possible. So if you attend the General Council, you attend this and that meeting, it is possible. Goge. No, I was explaining that Mkhunu was not a subject, but a subject that involved him was our discussion yesterday, among others. That he was not a subject as a person, of course. He was not a subject per se, but a subject that involves him in relation to the decisions that have been taken by the Working Committee and the ANC. In as far as how it affects him, he was part of that discussion. So it is that discussion that we say today we support the pronouncements of the President and the establishment of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, and we urge everybody to support that particular process, because it will take us to understanding and getting into the substance of the issues raised by General Mkhwanazi. So that's the first thing in relation to that. He did not attend the meeting because he said because of leave of absence. I will explain to him that leave of absence does not affect the ANC. Okay? It doesn't. And his political standing in the ANC and all of that. I'll come to the question because you raise it in a different context later on. Lunga. I think it's you or something. And then, Goge, what happens to Shadrach? As far as the terms of reference of that commission are concerned, everyone is going to be affected. I don't want to get into the details of who suspend who and put who on in relation to the president and the police, because the police environment is regulated, because you need to follow SAPS Act to execute what needs to happen in SAPS. And that falls squarely to the minister appointed and the general. And the general has got particular powers. So I hear from you now that in this press conference that Sibia has been put on huh? Yeah, so I hear it here that so that those will be SAPS processes. And then in terms of this commission will also have a right to execute that mandate in as far as individuals are concerned. NEC is postponed because of Mandela Day. No, it's not postponed because of Mandela Day. It's postponed because NEC said we need more time. We need more time to discuss the state of the GNU, to discuss the economy, to discuss a reconfiguration of the alliance, to finalize the processes. By the way, next week we've got the Liberation Movement Summit. All the liberation movements in Southern Africa will be here, led by their presidents. So it's a big summit we've been working on over time and so on. So the NEC could have easily taken place next week, but we are going to August. And August we've got Women's Month, and then we must celebrate the anniversary and commemorate the 9th of August as the ANC and joining everybody. So, of course, Mandela Day, we will be doing something, even if the NEC was taking place. We are expected as individuals to contribute. This is a global call, global icon. Individually, we are asked to do something for 67 minutes. Even if there was NEC meeting, everyone would have started first with the 67 minutes. Not as a collective, but individual contribution to humanity. What you do. Others are not doing it for 67 minutes. They do it daily. 67 minutes, they will just be showcasing what they do. So I know for a fact that on the 18th, I'll be somewhere doing something for 67 minutes. Education Ministry, we have said, and we want to repeat again, when a minister is charged by any individual or parliament about lying, there are processes in parliament that need to be followed. And that is called the Ethics Committee, where you've got to prove there that this minister came here and then lied to parliament, and then on the basis of that, we come with the following recommendations. Now, we have said that the minister have erred and the minister have worked to correct what she did around the sitters. And what is that? The criticism around the appointment, that these are political people aligned to the ANC, and then that was the first criticism, and that this must then be reviewed. The minister reviewed that, apologized, and then accepted, and re-advertised the process, meaning rerun the process. That's what she have done. She have appeared before the Portfolio Committee around issues of now the appointment of what? The committee that she selected to appoint these chairpersons. Now, in terms of the National Skills Act, from the point of legality, there is nothing that requires the minister to establish a committee to appoint chairpersons of committees of the sitters. The minister did that for good governance and accountability. But she could do that without any committee. She's now accused about lying in relation to members of the committee and all of that, which involved a senior respectable advocate in our country. And the minister again responded to that matter. That I shouldn't have mentioned this. The advocate indeed did not accept to be party to this. And we add on that part. And that is it. Now, there are parties that have taken the minister to the ethics. So they must then level up and decide, in terms of their accusations of the minister lying, what is the charge of lying before Parliament on these particular matters? There are about 2 people who have made allegations to the Portfolio Committee or to the media or anywhere else through WhatsApp groups and all of that, and said that they were not party to the committee. But what the minister said before the committee is that these are the people who were part of this. Some of these people are DDGs in the department, including her own advisors or something like that. But she revealed those names. And one was an advocate who never took up the position, and the advocate clarified the matter, even in a public letter, that I was never party to this. And the minister apologized and said, I had and accepted on this particular matter. So the ethics must preside over that matter and Parliament and make a determination on this issue as to if they charge that the minister lied, how did she lie, what she lied about. Now, should the ethics committee arrive at a decision about the minister, then that will then means that the executive and the standing of the minister is brought into question, and they will make recommendations to the president and everyone else what needs to happen in relation to that minister. That's how it happens. Like all ministers, even myself, I was a minister, I was subjected to the same processes. I went to the public protector, I went to the executive, and then that is it. Ethics committee and so on various matters. Now, any other process that is defined outside that, we wouldn't know. And you simply can make a charge unsubstantiated and say that the person have committed the following, and then you need to pursue that matter in the context of Parliament and make a decision with regard to that. So these ramblings, Goge, must be addressed in Parliament on the charge of minister lying. But in relation to the process, the minister have restarted this thing and have admitted, and the process have since been restarted on the question of the sitters. Lunga, even myself and Mahlengi, we are allies of the president. All ANC members are allies of the president. So are you going to say that if I do something wrong, the president must put a blind what? Yeah, to what I'm doing? I think it's unfair, that question. Because the president have acted, yes, the president have taken an oath at a big inauguration there at the Union Building. So you are basically now saying the president has broken the oath, he failed to act on misdemeanor, and everything that is alleged. And in that sense, you bring into question the oath of the president. So I wouldn't say that. Who becomes your ally and supported you in the politics of the ANC doesn't matter when it comes to what confronts you. Presidents have taken decisions against ministers irrespective of where you stood with him at a particular point. You will even go home and cry on your own and say, "Ndimenzeni lo mntu? Wandibeke ecaleni ndandimsupporta kangaka." It doesn't matter. If you are wrong, you are wrong. It doesn't matter where you stood in the politics of the ANC. There you are serving the country, which is what President Ramaphosa have done. If he was, according to what you say, political alignment in the ANC, he would have said, "Hey, man, because because he understands that the country comes first. He understands that. It doesn't matter here in the ANC what tomorrow you can say. There are people in the ANC who wouldn't like you because you have acted on the right side of the law and all of that. But when we are here, and when he's here, the president at Luthuli House, it's ANC, it's not government. When he's there in government, we expect him to deal with matters as the chief executive of the country. So, keeping Mkhunu in the NWC, yes, he must be in the NWC. He's an elected member. And unless otherwise, by any committee of the ANC, I wouldn't respond to Comrade Mavuso because I didn't listen to him. And if I may respond to something I've not listened to, I will attract something to my direction without engaging with the veteran. So I need to understand what he was raising and what he said. So I'm not going to respond to that because I didn't hear him, what he was saying and what he was, because sometimes media take clips and I don't get the context of what he was talking about. And I respond just to a clip. I wouldn't do that. I'd rather be furnished with a full response. And what was the context? Because context is everything. So say somebody else. Context is important in everything that that everybody does. And then what salaries?
The two ministers of police.
No, there's not going to be two ministers of police. There's going to be one. You can ask the question. I've answered you. I said on the 1st of August, the president will answer that question. There's not two. There's one. No, let me say, no. He says that
being on leave doesn't take away your salary.
No.
Can I explain again? And then let's not heckle. Yeah, I'm explaining to you again. The president says that there will be 2 weeks interim period, and an acting minister will be appointed up until the 1st of August. Okay? So that's what is going to happen. 1st of August, a minister will be appointed, of course, from outside the legislature. Comrade Kachalia confirmed. He has agreed, that is done. On the 1st of August, the president in his speech did not address the question of appointments. How is he going to deal with the question you are asking? He will then address that in relation to implementing Section 91, subsection what? Yeah, C of the Constitution. And then address what happens to a person who is put on special leave. Okay? Now, where me and you we are today is what you are asking. Are we going to pay for 2 ministers of police? I'm saying no. The question that must be answered, what happens to Senzo whilst on leave? And that question will be answered by the president on the 1st of August. That is what I'm saying. So, as the ANC, the president have responded to the question of the inquiry that is required to address this situation. And we're looking forward to that. And we support the inquiry. We support the appointment of Minister Feroz Kachalia in terms of the responsibility as a minister. And we know that whoever will be appointed briefly for 2 weeks. In August 1st, there will be a new minister of police. So we support and we are encouraged by the decisiveness of the terms of reference of this commission. We all want results in terms of the commission, and we want this commission to finish its work within the shortest possible time. But the timeframes that are outlined are not unrealistic. We believe that they are realistic and they can be met, and then supported by results, given what has been outlined in the president's statement that after every 3 months, preliminary report with suggestions of what must actually happen. Not even suggestions, recommendations of what must be implemented with immediate effect. The minister is on leave with immediate effect. The president, up until he appoint the interim, I don't know whether today or tomorrow, when will that be announced? Maybe it is been announced as we are speaking now through a statement, I'm not sure. But that will last only for 2 weeks, and the right minister will take over. And on the 1st, the president and government will address the question of what happens after the interim period and the appointment of the minister. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, SG. And I see some people still want to engage. I think we will sleep here if we continue.
No, I've said that I cannot answer people who are implicated.
That was responded to.
I asked about ANC politicians. I said, do you know of any who are linked?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know who's linked to Matlala and how. Okay. And then we've got a commission here that links Matlala to various people, and the commission will address that. So that's it. The commission will address the issue of Matlala and anyone who's mentioned, and even those that we don't know. Those who've got information and the capabilities of giving this information will provide to the commission.
Thank you very much. The SG had responded to those questions that he was being heckled about, but we come in peace, and thank you very much. You are ready for the next press briefing. We are adjourned, colleagues. It's very late, and thank you very much for being here. Thank you, SG.
Thank you.
Thank you.